If you're listening to this on Wednesday morning, the bank holiday weekend just ended, and right now, across the country, thousands of people are about to make the same mistake. Not during the weekend, after it. They're about to try and undo it, and that's exactly where everything goes wrong. I call this the compensation trap. In Ireland, we have this built-in Monday penance mindset. If you've had a big weekend, food, drink, missed sessions, whatever, you feel you have to pay for it. It looks like this. You wake up Tuesday morning after the bank holiday with a cloud of guilt. You add an extra 20 minutes of punishment cardio. You cut your calories to near starvation mode. You skip the rest day that you actually need because you feel like you haven't earned it. You think this is discipline. It's not. It's reactive emotional baggage. When you train to punish yourself, you're no longer training for performance. You're training for atonement. You're teaching your brain that the gym is a place you go to pay off debts. And what happens by Wednesday? You're exhausted, you're hungry, sore, and you quit. Not because you lack discipline, but because the discipline you're using is destructive. One weekend didn't ruin your progress, your reaction to it did. This pattern hits former athletes harder than most people, and here's why. When you used to compete, you had a coach managing your recovery, a structure managing your training, a team environment managing your accountability. Now you're trying to do it all yourself, and the only tool you have left is willpower. So when life gets messy, you default to the only response you know: train harder, eat less, push through. That response worked at 22 because you had the hormone profile and recovery capacity to absorb it. At 38, it breaks you. This connects directly to what I talked about last week, the mismatch. You're applying a 22-year-old's coping strategy to a 38-year-old's life. Same instinct, wrong context. The fix isn't more willpower. It's a system that accounts for disruption as a normal part of life. Not an exception, a feature. I used to fall into this constantly. If my plan got disrupted, I'd panic. I'd try to claw things back. Harder sessions, less food, no rest, and all it ever did was leave me feeling exhausted, injured, or burnt out. The shift happened when I stopped treating disruption as failure and started treating it as expected. Now I expect busy weekends. They don't surprise me. They're part of the process. The difference is I don't try to compensate. I don't punish myself for living a life. I just return to the plan. That shift alone is why I've trained consistently for years instead of restarting every few months. And it's what I teach every client at Templetown. Here's the adult approach to a bank holiday weekend, or any disruptive weekend for that matter. During the weekend, eat normally at events. Protein still matters, but don't stress perfection. Stay hydrated. Move if you can, but don't force a 2-hour workout. After the weekend, train on your next planned day. Eat as normal. Move on. No damage control. No punishment sessions. No guilt-driven decisions. Progress is built in the return, not in the perfection. Consistency isn't never missing a session. It's the ability to close the gap between a disruption and your next planned one. By Wednesday, the people who try to outtrain the bank holiday will be exhausted and ready to quit. The people who just return to their plan will be hitting their second session of the week feeling strong. That's the difference, and it's entirely a systems problem, not a willpower problem. You're not building fitness for one bank holiday or one photo or 1 month. You're building capability for the next 20 or 30 years. One long weekend in that timeline means absolutely nothing unless you let it spiral into a month of I'll start again next Monday. The difference between people who stay strong and people who restart every month is simply how to handle a messy weekend. If the restart cycle sounds familiar, if you feel like you've been restarting over every few weeks for the last 3 years, the problem isn't willpower, it's the system. A system that accounts for disruption, that expects messy weekends, that doesn't require perfect conditions to work. That's what I build for people I coach. DM me the word rebuild on Instagram. I'll send you the application. 8 questions, 4 minutes. If it's a fit, we'll talk. And if you're local to Carnford and you want to train in a small group coaching environment with this approach, DM me info. I have some spots available right now. Chat to you next week.